God, I have the worst bubble guts this morning. I pooped early this morning. I was on it. I haven't eaten breakfast, but that is not what I'm doing right now. I pooped earlier this morning, but I still have the worst bubble guts. I feel like the stuff is still in there. But that's the thing is I'm essentially learning to re-poop, learning how to poop again. No one be alarmed by that sentence. I love magnesium glycinate. It's great for anxiety, but
Mhm.
also I cannot take it at this moment because of my new stomach. And so I'm on a very strict what I can and cannot take as far as vitamins and minerals right now. It'll come probably at the most unexpected time. Thank God I did most of my errands yesterday. And
Yeah.
so I'll be in the house all day today.
One, two, three, four.
Welcome to Half Ass Witchery. Welcome to Half Ass Witchery, where you shit your pants, where apparently all technological issues are really screwing us today. We spent about 30 minutes trying to figure out my technical difficulties with my headphones and Zoom because my computer just randomly decided we're going to forget about that. She doesn't need to hear from her computer. So during Gemini season, we actually don't have any sort of Mercury retrograde. We do have one in Cancer season, though. So we will have a Mercury retrograde pre shadow in Gemini. But other than that, Gemini season is great for all of the buying the little mini things. It's great for sampling things. Venus is currently, at the time of us recording this, in Gemini. So soak up all the fun things about Gemini: dating multiple people, casual dating,
Eating up.
buying things that you maybe don't need to buy and splitting them into tiny payment plans like I did yesterday. I bought a whole bunch of perfume oils because I was so upset that the fragrance perfumery that I wanted to go to was rebranding. And so they said instead of offering perfume oils as they're becoming a perfumery during the rebrand, they're only going to sell candle making services. So I decided to just completely overhaul and buy a whole bunch of stuff from Perfumer's Apprentice, and that I would
That's
be the perfume. Yes. But anyway, Vanessa, what do you have? What are some of your hopes for Gemini season? Tell us the Gemini perspective, the Gemini agenda, if you will, being our resident Gemini. It was lovely. I love Taurus season first and foremost. I think I would scream this from the rooftops. I absolutely love Taurus season, even more than my own season. I actually little canon event here for everybody listening to Half Ass Witchery. I actually do not like my own season. I'm a Pisces, if I have not made that clear already. I actually do not like Pisces season. It's always rainy. Poseidon is always coming for me on my birthday. I've never experienced a birthday where I didn't either have rain or snow happening. It's been very rare. I think last year was the first birthday that I had that I didn't experience that. I went and tried to experience all the tourist things, all the smells and things like that. I was feeling a little extra sexy, and that's, we've got a residual from that right now. And tourist season was good. I love tourist season. It's my fifth house, and so I'm feeling very fun, flirty, ready to talk to people. I'm feeling overly optimistic and willing to socialize. And so everybody, including myself, enjoys that part of me for 30 days. And so that was how my tourist season was. I felt like life was good and like I wasn't living in a burning trash can of a country for 30 days. Vanessa, tell us your Gemini perspective on Gemini season, a little bit catch up, and what is the Gemini agenda? What do
okay.
Geminis truly want?
She has
so
a
that
birthday
you and
party.
Mountain Man could play with each other? Will there be any play at all? Got it. Got it. Got it. Lord knows that Tucson is already going through enough with this whole Nancy Guth. No, if Nancy Guthrie disappeared.
Guthrie disappeared, yeah.
Eighty-seven-year-old woman. Yeah. Okay, continue with your the rite of passage, whether
Yeah.
it is McDonald's or some other. Mine was Chops. The things that I saw in
Mhm.
every first job should be like some sort of fast food service
Yeah.
industry kind of
Yeah.
situation. Honestly, I'm thinking about working as a server again. I do miss those tips,
Mhm. I used to
but
get
not the
good
hourly
tips.
wage. I'd be working at a strip club in a minute as a bottle girl. Gemini
I mean,
agenda. So basically, you're a one woman army. Gotcha. Well, he was definitely falling asleep in that press
yeah.
conference. Yep, getting rid of the rotten tomato, or not the
Mhm.
rotten tomato, the rotten. Very true. Very true. Okay, so let's talk a little witchcraft because I think like always talk about witchcraft here on Half-Ass Witchery, of course, but we usually talk about it a little later. I want to dive right into some tips and tricks that we can really dive into for that before we talk about astrology. So, what are some Gemini themed witchcraft ideas, spells, herbs, even? Um, and maybe even some surprising things that people might not know about the woes of a Gemini life, being
Um,
blessed. How's that going?
what
Big multitasking. Mhm.
you
Mhm.
can
Imagine yourself turning into King Midas because but
uh
definitely make sure that if you're doing that, you set an expiration date. Yes. But what about some
I
herbs as well? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Mhm. Is that
the
like the butterfly? Um, I was gonna ask, like, is there any not relation, but like since it's Palo, like Palo is in both, like, and I think doesn't Palo mean wood? Okay, because Palo Santo is a sacred wood, or okay. So I didn't know that.
Mhm.
So yeah, you might have some woody water. Say that 5 times fast. What about making sure that your wording during Gemini season for spells and things like that is very specific? Mercury is the trickster god, and so when putting your spells up to ancestors, deities, the universe, whatever, making sure that your wording is correct, I think is a great tip, just kind of
I
as well. Think for sure also making sure that you have some grounding spells also happening, or at least if you're not going to do grounding spells before you do it, anything else, making sure you have some sort of brown crystal on you for grounding. Anything that's black, brown, earthy colors are gonna be more grounding, even something green.
um,
Mhm. I didn't know that.
mhm.
Okay, okay, nice, nice. Okay, so we've got emerald. Love emeralds. If I ever do get not married, because I refuse to get legally married, but if I ever do a hand fasting ceremony or whatever,
Mhm.
well, I want an emerald engagement ring for sure. Because I want the bling in the party.
Yeah,
So, and the commitment, of course. I think that having some grounding, it would be really important during Gemini season, especially because mutable sign is going to be essentially a cocktail of the fixed sign before it and the cardinal sign after it. So
mhm.
Gemini comes in between Taurus and Cancer. And so if you put Taurus and Cancer in a blender, put them together, you get Gemini. So all of my mutable signs, Virgo, Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius. We're all cocktails. We're all delicious. We're all delicious because we're a blend of different flavors. So the purpose I say grounding is important is because yes, Gemini is part Taurus, which is going to be like that hardworking, set my sights on things and I want to go towards it. And that's what I'm really looking at. That's what I'm focusing on. But then Cancer is about like change and remembering and wandering as well. So if you put determination and focus together, you get this has been my life's goal since lunch, and this is going to become my whole personality. And then once you achieve that thing, it's not like you stay any longer to actually build it up. It's like, okay, and it says, oh, shiny thing. Okay, cool. I've discovered said shiny thing. We're going on to the next. Okay. But yes, we are all cocktail, all very very delicious, very, very changeable. Think of mutable signs as a blender. Since Gemini is the first mutable sign, what cocktail beverage do you think Gemini would be? I'll give you this one since you're the Gemini and you would know the most.
Be
It
a
would be
heart
something short. What is that?
or
Mhm. And then it
that
fucks you up. That's what
that
you
if
If I had to choose for Virgo, I feel like Virgo would be a cocktail still, but I think Virgo would be something a little more classy, a little bit more simplistic, a bit more classic. What do you think? I think it would be
I think
some sort of meat, something like
see
an
that.
apple teeny or or like a Cosmo. Yeah, I think
I
Virgo
say
would be a
Cosmo
Cosmo. The Virgo
is
is Leo. Mhm. but it also is like it's super cute, but also it says I'm sophisticated. Everybody
Yes.
tries a Cosmo at least once in their life, and don't lie. All of you have tried a Virgo at least once in your life because we're all messes in here. Okay. Yes, I was like, Vanessa would know, but Cosmos, I feel like, yeah, a Virgo would totally be a Cosmo. It's
Mhm.
cute. You see it on TV all the time. It's sold to you as something that makes you look better, just like Virgos. Cosmos, they can get you a little tipsy, but they're not going to get you like sloppy drunk either. Yeah, unless you're trying. Unless you're trying. I mean, Virgos, if they take that restraint off, they definitely go off the deep end. What about Sagittarius? I feel like we need a good one for Sagittarius. I feel like Sagittarius would be jungle juice. Like, you're about to get fucked up. Like, there is no like almost like where Gemini is like so many juices that it's alcohol though, but it's so sweet. Jungle juice, it's going to fuck you up. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Give me flashbacks. I don't drink, even though I'm Pisces, I don't drink. It's the Capricorn rising in me. But I did try jungle juice one time, and it was at a house party, and I tried it, and the next thing I remember, I was not the next thing I remember, but because I remember the whole night, but it was a wild night. First of all, I had not learned pole dance at all yet, but that didn't stop me from trying that night. I spun on the pole earlier that night, and because this pole was not well mounted, I ended up later spinning on the pole that night and the pressure released and it almost hit somebody because it came tumbling down. Thank goodness no one was hurt. And then there was also an inflatable kiddie pool that I just decided I was gonna go swimming in, and it wasn't filled with water, but it was filled with balloons. So I decided to just live out my Katy Perry dreams at that time. This was before Katy Perry was as much of a twat that she is right now. But I decided to live out my Katy Perry music video dreams in that inflatable pool of balloons. And then I think I ended the night with almost fucking the host cousin in his car. Almost. Didn't happen, but so, Pisces.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I think with anything with blue curacao,
Mhm.
is definitely or like
Yeah.
hypnotic is the Pisces drink. Something that again, is sweet, but like it's pretty, it's sweet, but it will fuck you up as well. Not as bad as jungle juice, but it will fuck you up. Mhm. Yes, but I will also say a Blue Lagoon, while it might not suck you up as much as Jungle Juice, because Blue Lagoons, I think, are a little bit more like socially acceptable than Jungle
Mhm.
Juice. Blue Lagoons also make you feel like you're more in control of yourself than what you actually are. They give
Mhm.
you delusion. Yes, but she was less of one at this time in the early.
Fair.
Yes, fair, fair. Okay, so we talked a little witchcraft. Let's get into the astrology of
Mhm.
everything. As I was talking about Katy Perry, I really should have been pulling up my 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 astrology of Gemini. So let me do that now.
Kind
Love to
of,
see it. Yes. First of all, I want to say that first of all, thank you, Vanessa, for letting us know ahead of time. Unlike me, who just looks the price and says, you either buy it or you don't. That's so nice that you give people a heads up. But I will also say that I think it's really interesting the world that readers are in right now, but all content creators in general are in right now. Because I ended up, one, deciding I will be coming back into the reader space, but two, it's
Supposed to
not
be
that I
doing.
keep denying myself, it's that, like, I think I walk this very fine line of, like, I enjoy these very mystical things, and I know a lot about them, and the best outlet or the most easiest, I guess, outlet for, like, making money off of something that I use in my everyday life. Because the write-offs, y'all see the write-offs for some of my business expenses that I've used in the past because my whole world really evolves around astrology and tarot. So almost everything I ever buy is a write off. And so because it can be legitimized as it's being
Mhm.
for the business. And so obviously I want to make some of that money back. And so I keep coming back to astrology and tarot and astrology in particular, not because I don't like it, but because content creation is not my thing. And it's hard to get any sort of marketing together without doing content creation. So I've just decided that I'm going to come back, but I'm going to come back under a different flavor. And so you'll be seeing more story time format videos than lunar lowdowns, which is what I used to do, which talk about transits and things like that. I'm going to be coming at it from a more authentic place on how like I look at astrology rather than how people want to look at astrology. So if that's not your thing, that's not your thing. But there will be some fun story times about clients that either that really all of them for right now are going to be clients that I don't work with anymore, have not seen, heard from in years, or clients that I had just like a one time thing with from an event or party. So none of these people, unless they happen to come across my videos, will know I'm talking about them. And even then, I'm not going to be using any sort of names or identifying factors. And so I'm not being messy. I'm not being messy because I've never seen these people. I've only seen these people once. And so I usually would not go into the whole talking about client readings because I think that that should stay private. But these are situations where either I have not talked to these clients in years and they likely will never get a reading from me again. These clients also probably had some moral choices that are very questionable and came to me with a reading about it because the tea that you get as a reader and then 3, like, some of the dance readings of people that I will probably never see again because they were at an event that I was reading at. I'll talk about those story times as well and relating it back to both the human experience, but also interesting story time, looking at astrology from from less of a predictive standpoint than how it played out in that situation because we know how it played out because that's what they were going through at that time of that reading. And so that is how I'm coming back. Like I said, if it's not your thing, that's not your thing. But I will be coming back. Please support. But I did delete my TikTok because TikTok is trying to make everything AI now. And I had too many videos to go through every single video and spend 3 hours clicking off the AI setting because there was no mass turn off for letting AI remix your videos. And I had way too many videos for that. So I just deleted the whole thing. And I might be coming back underneath a very different name. For right now, it's still Eden Eye Astrology on Instagram. I'm still on Instagram, but I deleted all of my videos off on Instagram since we're rebranding a little bit. By the way, our friends Nikki and Lisa and their co-host and business partner Bridget, they have a podcast out now as well. And so I will try and link that to this video when it comes out. We're all about sharing.
Well,
Anything you have to hold with your hands and any sort of trade or talent or whatever that involves your hands or some sort of small things like cards and things like that are all Gemini things. So tarot as a practice is actually a Gemini thing. It's a reading that you're getting from cards and obviously you handle with your hands. And so I have materials coming so that I can actually make my own card deck because all of the card decks that I see now are just so uninspiring. I pick a lot of my card decks based on the vibe, but also the artwork. And it's very specific artwork that I am particularly into that I couldn't tell you what it looks like. I had to see it and be like, "I like that," and then I buy it. But so many people with AI and everything like that, a lot of artists defaulting to AI. I saw a mermaid tarot deck on Etsy that somebody was charging $75 for, and on some of the cards, the mermaid's tail was completely cut off, not because that's how the artist intended it, but because the AI just didn't complete the actual picture. And so I will be making my own tarot deck. If it goes well, then I'll let you guys know and then possibly tell you that I'll mass produce it for sale. But either way, I don't know if I'll be doing that online. I think I'll more so just be doing that maybe at a local flea market or something like that. It'll be exclusive, you know. Uh, but this is the chart for our first full moon in Sagittarius, which is happening on May 30th of Gemini season. We have Mercury, which will be in Gemini during that full moon in Sagittarius. So, moon in Sagittarius is really focusing on expansion, learning. It can be about freedom and independence as well, not wanting to be tied down, really wanting to see all that can be seen, looking at and exploring all the things that can be looked at, especially with Mercury in Gemini. Mercury is about to go into Cancer at this time, so this could be a busy time for travel. I do wonder what will be happening, especially since Mercury, when it does enter into Cancer and will be in a Mercury retrograde pre shadow at this time. I do wonder what will be happening as far as travel and maybe some things that are being said, since Mercury is going to be all of the communication things that are going on, but also routes or even travel plans and scheduling. And so when Mercury is at a 28, 28 is going to be a Cancer degree. So it can be a change of plans, maybe struggling to focus on what you're learning about and really having other interests, wanting the freedom to be able to wander intellectually as well as just physically as well. And so I think flexibility is a huge thing when we're talking about everything that's going on with the full moon in Sagittarius, especially since or not Mercury retrograde, Gemini is going to be so busy, but it is making like an energetic, harmonious aspect with Saturn and Neptune. And so we find that Gemini season is a little extra serious at least at the mid-May, because that's when Gemini starts. And so we're seeing things, start out a little bit more serious, but the closer that we get to the full moon in Sagittarius, we're trying to really break free of that seriousness and structure. But I'd still say that flexibility is needed. All the Saturn energy in Aries is really saying, let's not just start a new beginning. Let's plan, what are we creating this new beginning for? But Neptune is also there saying, let's just kind of go with the flow. Let's just create stuff because why not? And Mercury also is, yeah, I want to create stuff because why not? And so I think plans or things that are said out of delusion or haste will probably be walked back a lot during the Mercury retrograde that will be coming shortly after this full moon. So just be aware of that, but also be aware if you have travel plans around this full moon, be open to changing them, whether it's road trips, taking a flight or a train trip or whatever, just be open to change when it comes to that. And so, yeah, I think that's a big gist of what I have to say about that. Hopefully, nobody's going through any sort of legal issues, but try new things, learn new things. Just know that they'll probably change. Your intensity of passion will probably change. This could also bring up some interesting things when we're talking about world leaders and the crazy things they'll be saying. That is the full moon in Sagittarius. I completely forgot that there's another moon in Sagittarius. So let's talk about that really quickly. And so let's talk about it really quickly. Hold on. There we go. I was trying to find the tab. A Gemini of me. I don't have any Gemini placements, but what I do have is Gemini energy in general. I'm connected to a couple of my planets, so the ADHD is real. We have a new moon in Gemini that's happening on June 15th. This will be happening at 24 degrees, so it's a Pisces degree. So we've got more change at this time. We'll fully be in Cancer. So a lot of the things that we experience in that full moon in Sagittarius energy is going to be what we're experiencing during the full moon in Gemini. And so Mercury is at 18, which would be a Virgo degree. So this could be changes when it comes to health and diet and kind of what we're all really working towards personally, and trying to get things organized, but especially around the home and family situations. It could be traveling back home as well. And so we have Mercury in Cancer, which can also be talking about where do we emotionally feel safe at and trying to find that emotional security, possibly also financial security as well. Maybe a lot of transition when it comes to job situations, a lot of conversations that need to happen when we're talking about um, uh, just kind of figuring out where we want to move to as well. I could see the moon in Gemini could be like talks of I want to move out of this space and move into a different one. Other than that, that is the gist of what I get. All Gemini season, flexibility, flexibility, flexibility. I cannot stress that enough. No matter how you spin it, because of the mix between Gemini and Cancer energy that we're getting during Gemini season. So if you're crying while you're laughing and talking, just blame the planets. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we have reached that special time where we talk about all of your tarot needs. Um, okay. And so Taurus. Interesting. We've got swords for the first two signs. I wonder what Gemini will actually be. So we have for Taurus, we have the King of Swords. I do actually like this for you, Taurus. It says that you're really using that noggin along with the charisma that Venus has gifted you. I think you're looking at things from a less emotional standpoint, which is good during Gemini season, especially with being not Venus, Mercury being in Cancer. This says that you have your eyes set on some sort of goal or trying to connect with people to maybe achieve a goal, but you're looking at it from a more objective perspective rather than an emotional one. You're planning, you're creating structure that actually like logically makes sense. And so the only thing I would say is make sure with Mercury and Cancer is that yes, while thinking logically is important, that you are not cutting off your emotions or repressing them when they are needed. Because in communication with relationships, which Gemini is all about, like relationships and talking to people to be relatable as well. Sometimes the King of Swords can just stop wanting to stop wanting to stop feeling and therefore not showing that part of them. You got nine Taurus. Cancer, you have the Knight of Pentacles. This is you going really slow. During Gemini season, I do wonder if this gets overwhelming if things just kind of get too overwhelming for you because Mercury will be in your sign, but also you are about to have a Mercury retrograde in your sign. And so I feel like I'm being rushed, but I feel like it would be best also to go at my own pace because even though people are telling me to hurry up and finish, I know that it would probably be best for me to do this carefully so I don't have to go back later and redo it, which could even still happen. But I think it's right that you guys stay in that intuition of let me work on the quality of this relationship or whatever, relationship project, whatever, so that it is done well rather than having to start over from square one. That is what I have for you.
I
Perfect. Mhm. Virgo. I love this card for you because this card essentially is you. We got the Queen of Pentacles. So, the first thing that this makes me think of with Mercury both being Gemini's ruler and your ruler is sit your ass down. I know that you want to take care of people, but sit your ass down. It's not doing anything for your stress level. The Queen of Pentacles, whenever it comes up, can be yes, you are working hard to make sure everybody, including yourself, has some sort of physical stability or financial stability, even. But it's also saying that you are possibly overworking your body and you need to pay attention to your health. And I think a big part of that specifically is stress. Don't stress yourself out, all to make sure that somebody else is not stressed out as well. You also need to be using your boundaries, and the Queen of Pentacles understands that. And so make sure that you are keeping that in mind, keeping yourself grounded during this Gemini season. I Scorpio, we get the Queen of Cups for you. This is either you saying, I am healing, help me, or people want to talk to you so that you open up about your fifis. Neither one is bad. If you are fighting against it, just let it happen. You don't have to constantly go back to that moment where you overshared and feel embarrassed about it at 2 a.m. I understand. I've done that, but it's not necessary. People usually aren't even thinking about it all like that. The Queen of Cups is similar to Virgo. Virgo got the Queen of Pentacles. It is essentially saying, yes, you're trying to take care of somebody, but instead of Virgo being the stress of it all, is wearing on their body. The Queen of Cups is more, I want to make sure that I'm here for you as a vessel. This could also be Scorpio, you being, I don't know if any of you watching have watched Euphoria lately. The Queen of Cups is Maddie when she showed up for Cassie for that little meeting where Cassie was trying to absolve her conscience for stealing Maddie's boyfriend. And now she's married to Maddie's ex boyfriend. And Cassie was, oh, yeah, I'll help you. I'll help you become big on OnlyFans. But we all secretly know Maddie is plotting something big. She's taking all Cassie's secrets and she's going to rob her for everything she's worth. That's also the Queen of Cups. Okay. If you're banking secrets, I love that for you. But I will say also on a more healthy, less toxic side, this is a time where opening up with maybe a therapist, a trusted friend, or being the stand in for either one of those can be helpful. But again, make sure that your boundaries are in place. Separate what's yours from what is somebody else's emotions. Okay, that's all I have for you, Scorpio. Capricorn. Interesting that we got the 5 of Wands for Sagittarius because Capricorn, you're getting some fives too. You have the 5 of Swords. So here we go. The 5 of Swords is your sixth house. So something that you are walking away from as far as health, organization, errands, being of service to people, you're saying, I can't do it anymore. Here's the thing though, intuitively, I'm picking up that while you're saying I can't do it anymore, a couple days later you're saying I can, and then a couple days later after that you're saying no, I really can't because I'm burnt out. Pick one, okay? Stand on it. Maybe have a little thought. I know that Gemini energy is fucking with your energy at the moment and what you can and cannot do. Some of you also might be going through a breakup. The sixth house can be where we see breakups happen, but I would also say with that, just take your time to really look at both sides of things before you decide whether or not it's an absolute yes or an absolute no. Sometimes there's a middle ground, and Gemini energy can be great for that. Is there a compromise? If not, there doesn't need to be one. You don't need to make one, but just figure out both sides before you actually make a decision so you're not doing this back and forth and it doesn't become confusing and a bit ego bruising for everybody, including yourself as well. And so that is for you, Capricorn.
Ooh,
Pisces, we got the 9 of swords. Okay. Okay. Gemini is your fourth house. It's our fourth house. And so this is essentially us being up all night. The 9 of swords is already about anxiety, insomnia. The fourth house is where we are behind closed doors in our bed sleeping. No sleep. Our minds are wandering. I would suggest some soothing sounds, some sort of meditative routine. Really lean into that Virgo energy side of Mercury. Even though it is Gemini season, you need a way to ground your thoughts, ground your mind. Um, this can also be out in the world, you just talking a lot, oversharing, and again, almost like Scorpio, you think wow, I overshared. That was really embarrassing. And then those thoughts come up every 5 seconds at night, in particular, when you're trying to rest. It happens to the most of us. It happens to the best of us. It ain't nothing but a G thing, okay? It and so this can be a time that feels a bit stressful, but I would definitely suggest coming up with some sort of routine to quiet the mind before bed, especially, but also maybe also having a friend that can help check those or challenge those thoughts of, oh my gosh, I did this. This was so bad. And it just makes you spiral. Having a friend that can kind of put it into perspective and cut off the emotional spiraling can help a lot. And so that's what I have for you, Pisces. That's true too. If you don't want to use BetterHelp, because I know they also have some, BetterHelp has been in the news for some shaky practices as far as selling their clients' information. If you don't want to use BetterHelp, journal. The 9 of Swords is really good for journaling. Get the thoughts out, but that I also say that that goes in with like routine as well. But yeah, that is show today. We hope that you guys have enjoyed it. Vanessa, where can they find you in all your lovely services? You can find me on Instagram for the time being at Eden I Astrology, EDENEYE Astrology. all one word. And I will let you guys know when I am fully back. I am banking content right now. So the Nine of Swords does not get the best of me during Gemini season, and I'm
I'm
not
here for
a
you.
of course she is. So I'm not an anxious ball of energy when it comes to content creation. I'm trying to find a more soothing, more stressless way to put out content. So I'm making content right now, but I'll let you guys know when I have started putting out content and where you can find me for readings. And so, with that said, thanks for hanging with us, guys. We hope that this was helpful and enjoyable. And have a wonderful Gemini season. We'll see you in Cancer season.